There exists a particular type of individual who forms profound connections with felines. This isn't mere fondness or casual appreciation, it runs deeper, touching something fundamental about how they experience the world. These individuals often carry within them a gentleness that remains hidden from casual observers, revealed only to those who earn their trust. This exploration isn't simply about animal preferences or companion choices. It delves into the core of human temperament, the intricate architecture of our emotional worlds, and the nuanced methods through which we build meaningful relationships. It speaks to those who navigate life without demanding attention, who find completeness within themselves rather than seeking external validation, whose hearts possess profound depths beneath calm surfaces. Those who truly cherish cats frequently recognize the profound importance of tenderness in an environment that often celebrates aggression and boldness. They comprehend patience on an instinctual level, understanding that cats cannot be hurried or coerced. Trust develops gradually, organically, like dawn breaking across a quiet horizon. This mirrors something essential within their own nature, a desire to be approached with care, understood without pressure, loved without expectation of performance or pretense. Perhaps you've always embodied this quality, the young person who gravitated toward peaceful spaces rather than boisterous gatherings, the adolescent who experienced emotions with tremendous intensity yet rarely vocalized these inner storms, the grown individual whose affection expresses itself through steadfast loyalty rather than theatrical displays. Cats, in their enigmatic and unhurried manner, mirror this temperament perfectly. Researchers studying human attachment patterns, how we bond, how we balance closeness with autonomy, have noted something fascinating about cat enthusiasts. They frequently embody seemingly contradictory desires, yearning for genuine connection while simultaneously valuing personal space. They wish to express love, but according to their own internal rhythm, their own authentic timeline, precisely like the creatures they hold dear. Individuals drawn to cats possess a distinctive emotional cadence that isn't immediately apparent to outside observers. They tend toward introspection, careful observation, and heightened sensitivity to subtleties that others completely miss. They register the slight movement of whiskers, the meaningful shift in posture, the precise angle of a tail that signals growing comfort. This attunement extends far beyond animals. They read micro-expressions in human faces, sense atmospheric shifts in social environments before anyone else recognizes the change. They detect undercurrents of tension, unvoiced sorrow, concealed happiness, and respond not through loud intervention but through simple, grounding presence. Have you noticed how cats gravitate toward the individual who doesn't actively pursue them? The psychological principle here is straightforward. Cats trust non-threatening energy. They feel safer with quiet observers than with eager pursuers. Cat lovers instinctively understand this dynamic. They know how to wait patiently, allowing connection to unfold naturally rather than forcing it. They respect boundaries as sacred. They understand that the most meaningful affection is offered freely, never extracted through pressure. This understanding likely shapes how they approach human relationships as well. Picture this scenario: a cat lover at a social gathering. Everyone else immediately reaches for the resident feline, calling out with enthusiasm. The cat ignores them all and settles beside the quiet person in the corner, the one who made no overture, applied no pressure, simply existed with calm, welcoming energy. If you recognize yourself here, your approach to love probably follows similar patterns. Gentle, patient, deeply intuitive. You're someone who waits for others to feel secure enough to lower their defenses. You understand that authentic connection never comes from force or manipulation. Psychologists describe this as low intrusiveness paired with high responsiveness. You don't overwhelm people, but when they reach out, you're fully present, genuinely attentive, reliably kind. This explains why cat lovers often feel misunderstood by fellow humans yet completely recognized by animals. Cats make no demands for you to be more extroverted, more entertaining, more conventionally sociable. They don't question why you prefer intimate gatherings or why you occasionally require solitude. They accept you without conditions. Sometimes this acceptance feels more unconditional than anything received from the human world. Those who love cats often carry quiet wounds, not necessarily dramatic traumas, but subtle injuries accumulated from years of being sensitive in an often insensitive world. They might be the children who learned early to comfort themselves because caregivers were unavailable or overwhelmed. The young people who retreated into imagination because human interaction felt unpredictable or unsafe. The adults who discovered that solitude wasn't synonymous with loneliness, but could actually represent peace. Cats, through their gentle independence, validate this way of being. They teach that connection doesn't require constant conversation, that love needn't be possessive or melodramatic, that companionship can exist in comfortable silence. Perhaps this resonates with introverts particularly strongly, not because introverts dislike people, but because cats model a type of peaceful coexistence where nothing requires proving. However, cat lovers aren't exclusively introverts. Some are remarkably social, expressive, outgoing. What unites them is an appreciation for authenticity. Cats don't perform false affection. They don't feign interest for ulterior motives. People who cherish cats value this honesty, perhaps wishing human relationships operated more transparently. There's a psychological concept worth examining: unmasked connection. The capacity to feel close to someone without needing to perform, filter, or edit yourself. Cat lovers crave this profoundly. With a cat, conversation isn't mandatory. Impression making is irrelevant. Performance is unnecessary. You simply need to be present, open, warm. This feels precious in a culture where so much identity is performed rather than authentically lived. Cat lovers frequently possess heightened empathic capacity, though not the vocal, public variety. It's quieter empathy tuning into emotional frequencies others miss entirely. They're the friend who recognizes distress before you articulate it, the colleague who senses overwhelm and offers help without being asked, the partner who comprehends your silence without demanding explanations. They're also often dreamers, not unrealistic, but imaginative. Cats awaken wonder, the grace of their movement, their intense focus on invisible things, their playful pursuit of shadows. This awakens something childlike in observers' curiosity about mystery, appreciation for the unseen, fascination with the inexplicable. Cat lovers typically possess rich interior landscapes filled with memories, contemplations, and narratives they rarely voice, perhaps because these inner worlds feel too precious, too vulnerable to share casually. Cats enter these spaces without disturbing their delicate balance. Psychologists discuss mirror attachments, our attraction to others who reflect parts of ourselves we instinctively recognize. Cats mirror the emotional terrain of people who value autonomy while simultaneously longing for profound bonds. People desiring connection without self-erasure. Those appreciating mystery while craving comfort. Individuals understanding that genuine love doesn't require volume to be real. This sometimes creates misunderstandings. Cat lovers offer what researchers call warm distance. They care intensely without smothering. They desire closeness without engulfment. They seek affection without theatrics. People expecting dramatic emotional displays may misinterpret this subtlety as coldness or detachment, but it's simply a different love language, equally valid and deeply felt. Consider the cat owner quietly preparing morning food, sitting in dawn's stillness while their companion purrs contentedly nearby. Profound intimacy exists there, deep, meaningful connection. Yet, it requires no words, no grand declarations, just peaceful coexistence, just being. Many cat lovers navigate the world this way, offering steady companionship rather than dramatic proclamations. Cat lovers often possess what might be called boundary intelligence. They understand limits, their own and others. They don't pursue what doesn't want catching. They don't force premature conversations. They don't intrude into unwelcoming spaces. They wait, observe, respect. Consequently, when their relationships deepen, they often become extraordinarily meaningful, not instantaneous or flashy, but profound. Trust builds slowly, authentically, through mutual respect. Nothing rushed, nothing coerced. Many cat lovers possess a nurturing quality, but a specific kind. Not the overwhelming, let me fix everything approach, more like quiet reassurance that someone is safe, cared for, understood. They value emotional safety, perhaps knowing firsthand its absence. They create calm environments, provide stability, Understand the power of small gestures, leaving a light on for someone returning late, preparing tea without prompting, sitting with someone in silence when words would complicate rather than clarify. Their care is subtle but powerfully felt. Loving cats requires appreciating subtlety. A cat won't love you like a dog does, and this teaches something crucial about human relationships too. It demonstrates that love doesn't always conform to societal expectations. It shows that affection can be quiet, trust can develop slowly, connection can be gentle. Perhaps this explains why cat lovers often maintain more flexible definitions of love. They recognize love in diverse forms: meaningful eye contact, tender touches, comfortable silence, loyalty that isn't loud but remarkably consistent. You can learn much about people through their treatment of animals. Cat lovers typically approach life with patience. They understand ambivalence and complexity because cats are complex beings, affectionate one moment, distant the next. Rather than feeling frustrated, cat lovers adapt, recalibrate, respect that emotional states fluctuate. They understand connection ebbs and flows, that closeness one moment and distance the next doesn't signify broken bonds. In some sense, loving cats cultivates emotional resilience. It teaches remaining calm amid uncertainty, not personalizing distance, honoring others' rhythms. Perhaps this shapes how cat lovers navigate human relationships with greater acceptance, patience, understanding that everyone experiences varying moods and moments. There's a deeper, more poetic dimension to consider. People who love cats often find beauty in ordinary moments. They find comfort in routines, notice small joys, appreciate tiny details. The soothing sound of purring, the warmth of sunlight on fur, the simple act of companionship. They discover meaning where others see nothing remarkable. This reveals something about their inner landscape. It's rich, vibrant, filled with subtle enchantment. Perhaps that describes you. Perhaps you've always been someone who perceives beauty where others notice nothing, who finds comfort in quiet rituals, who values depth over noise, who feels things with softness, not always visible on your surface. The psychology of cat lovers reveals something else: a desire for mutual respect. Cats don't submit or obey blindly. They engage in relationships based on equality. Cat lovers appreciate this because they want balanced relationships, not controlling, not suffocating, not hierarchical. They desire companionship, not ownership, partnership, not dominance. This explains why cat lovers often gravitate toward relationships that feel liberating, authentic, and respectful relationships where both individuals maintain their distinctiveness. They don't wish to lose themselves in love, they want to share themselves authentically. There's a meaningful difference. When a cat genuinely chooses you, truly chooses you, it carries significance. It's not automatic, guaranteed, or transactional. It's a bond forming slowly, with deliberate care and intention. When it finally materializes, it feels deeply validating. Some researchers suggest people forming strong feline bonds tend toward secure solitude, the capacity to enjoy being alone without experiencing loneliness. Not because they don't need connection, but because they understand their inner world can be a source of peace. Cats model this through their independence and self-soothing abilities. They remind you that being alone doesn't mean being unloved, just being at peace with yourself. Yet cat lovers also cherish genuine connection. When a cat curls up against you, follows you through your home, or shows affection in their subtle manner, it touches something deep, a sense of being truly seen, accepted, chosen. People who love cats often crave exactly this feeling, not constant attention, but genuine, intentional closeness. There's something healing here, something tender, reaching into the hearts of people who've always valued depth over superficiality. Perhaps you understand what it feels like to be misunderstood, labeled as distant or difficult to read or overly quiet when you're simply gentle, simply observant, simply someone who feels deeply but expresses softly, someone whose love isn't always loud. Perhaps cats showed you that your way of loving remains valid, meaningful, beautiful. Cat lovers often possess quiet strength, the kind requiring no announcement. They weather difficulties without burdening others. They handle emotions with nuance. They fiercely protect their peace. They love wholeheartedly, but don't offer their heart indiscriminately. They give it slowly, intentionally, the way cats offer trust. And when they love with absolute sincerity. Ultimately, the psychology of cat lovers is delicate, layered, profoundly human. It's the psychology of people understanding the value of patience, mutual respect, quiet connection, and emotional authenticity. The psychology of people who love without noise, care without smothering, connect without losing themselves. Perhaps this isn't really about cats at all. Perhaps it's about you, the quiet parts, the gentle parts, the parts yearning to be understood. Perhaps loving cats reflects how you move through the world, with curiosity, tenderness, and appreciation for subtle beauty in others. Every time you've sat in comfortable silence with a cat curled beside you, you weren't just sharing space with an animal. You were experiencing a mirror of your own soul, the part that finds meaning in presence rather than performance. The world often tells us that love should be loud, that connection requires constant communication, that silence is something to be feared or filled. But you've always known differently. You've always understood that the deepest conversations sometimes happen without words, that the most profound connections form in the spaces between actions, that trust isn't demanded, it's offered, carefully, slowly, like a gift wrapped in time and patience. And perhaps they chose you because they recognize something the world sometimes overlooks: softness, depth, patience, presence, and a heart that loves quietly but completely. When a cat walks past a dozen outstretched hands to sit beside you, it's not random. They sense something in your energy, something calm and safe and authentic. They recognize a kindred spirit, someone who won't grab or demand or expect, someone who understands that the most beautiful things in life can't be forced. You are that person. The one who has learned that real strength doesn't announce itself. The one who knows that genuine care doesn't need an audience. The one who has discovered that loving deeply doesn't require loving loudly. In a world that often rewards the opposite, the bold, the loud, the relentless, you've quietly maintained your way of being. That takes courage that most people will never understand. If nobody has told you this, let these words settle into the places where you've doubted yourself. Your way of loving is sufficient. Your way of being is enough. You don't need to change your fundamental nature to be worthy of love or connection or belonging. The world needs more people like you, people who bring calm instead of chaos, depth instead of distraction, authenticity instead of pretense. Your quiet isn't emptiness, it's depth. When others see silence and assume nothing is happening, they're missing the rich landscape of thought, feeling, and observation occurring within you. Your mind is like a vast ocean calm on the surface, perhaps, but teeming with life and complexity beneath. You notice things others miss: the shift in someone's tone that signals distress, the beauty in ordinary moments, the subtle changes in atmosphere that indicate emotional weather patterns. Your patience isn't passivity, it's wisdom. In a culture obsessed with speed and instant gratification, your ability to wait, to allow things to unfold naturally, to trust in organic timing is revolutionary. You understand what others don't, that some things simply cannot be rushed. Meaningful relationships, deep trust, authentic connection, these require time. Your gentleness isn't weakness, it's strength. Anyone can be harsh. Anyone can bulldoze their way through life, disregarding others' feelings and boundaries. But to remain gentle in a world that often mistakes gentleness for fragility, to choose kindness when cruelty would be easier, to maintain your soft heart despite being hurt, that requires tremendous strength, the strength to be vulnerable, to stay open, to risk being misunderstood. Being drawn to creatures embodying mystery, independence, and subtle affection reveals the beauty within you. You value quality over quantity, depth over frequency, authenticity over performance. The psychology of cat lovers is both simple and profound. They are people who love gently, observe deeply, and connect authentically. They are the friends who remember small details because they actually listen. They are the partners who show love through consideration rather than drama. They are the humans who make the world feel safer, calmer, more thoughtful simply by being in it. Perhaps that describes who you are and who you've always been, not someone who needs to change, but someone whose fundamental nature is exactly what makes you valuable. Your way of being isn't a flaw to correct. It's your essence, your truth, your gift. The cats in your life have known this all along. They chose you because they recognized a kindred spirit. They love you because you love in a way that respects their nature while honoring your own. So, if the world has ever made you feel like you're too quiet, too sensitive, too careful with your heart, know this. Those aren't flaws, they're features. They're what make you capable of the kind of deep, meaningful, lasting connections that many people spend their whole lives seeking. Your way of loving may be quiet, but it's also complete, authentic, and profoundly valuable. You are enough, exactly as you are.